In the last episode, the Goblin and Grim Reaper arrived to save Eun Tak. Using their powers, they sliced the car in half and punished the bad guys. As they walked back together, the Goblin asked Eun Tak if she could see something unusual about him, something only the true Goblin's bride would recognize. When she couldn't, he told her that she wasn't truly his bride. Feeling hurt, Eun Tak declared she would never call him again. She also mentioned how, in the earlier moments, she hadn't been able to blow out the fire, so how had he appeared? It seemed her birthmark might be responsible. The next day, the Goblin sought to investigate Eun Tak's aunt's family. Dak Hwa helped him gather information, as the Goblin planned to punish them. At the aunt's house, he made they found hidden gold bars. They forced the aunt and her family to stay awake and guard the gold till morning, but they ended up falling asleep and lost both the gold and their daughter. In a panic, they ran to find her, while the Goblin observed coldly. Here's another fact. The Goblin remembers all his sorrowful memories due to his curse, whereas the Grim Reapers have no memories of their past lives. They only remember their lives as Reapers. For the Goblin, his curse means he is immortal until he finds his bride, who must pull the sword from his chest to end his suffering, resulting in his death. This is why it's considered a curse he lives in pain, only to face death once he finally finds his bride. This means you will alive until you find your bride. But when you find the true love of your life, and you will die. The Goblin is haunted by the betrayal of his king, wondering if the king has been reincarnated. He asked the Grim Reaper for help in finding out. However, the Grim Reaper can only see a person's past when he touches them, so he couldn't assist. Meanwhile, the Grim Reaper organization reminded him to report the two anonymous souls. To clarify, I'll refer to the owner of the fried chicken shop where Eun Tak works as Sunny. One day, Sunny asked Eun Tak to grill octopus. As she grilled, a flame burst out, and when she blew it out, she accidentally summoned the Goblin again. To her surprise, he was happy. Once again, he asked if she could see anything unusual about him. She answered no, so they went to a juice shop to continue the conversation, and they found Dong Wood there. At the table, Dong Wood used his mind power and told her there is a sword in the chest of Goblin and to pull that from the Goblin's chest. However, she didn't understand what he meant. Later, as they walked together, the Goblin asked again if she could see anything unusual on him. Once again, she couldn't. Back at the house, the Goblin teased Dong Wood, saying he was a Grim Reaper because of bad deeds and crimes he committed in a past life. Hurt by this, Dong Wood left, feeling sad. The Goblin then apologized. Another fact. The elderly man is the CEO of one of Korea's most successful companies, thanks to the Goblin, who uses his centuries of wisdom and powers to make wise investments. The old man's secretary is responsible for keeping an eye on his grandson, Dak Hwa. One day, Dong Wood walked by a small shop owned by a strange woman who used her power to entice him to buy a green ring. As he considered it, Sunny, the owner of the shop where Eun Tak works, arrived and took the ring first. The moment Dong Wood saw her, he started tearing up. She told him that if he wanted the ring, he would have to give her his phone number. Since he didn't have one, she gave him the ring along with her own number. Here's a fact. The old woman from episode 1 and this strange woman are the same. At home, the Goblin then looked at a painting of a woman who is Mama, filled with sadness. This painting was something he had found after he tried to kill the king, only to discover the king was already dead. He kept it with him all these years. Later, the Goblin and Dong Wood were drinking together, each for different reasons. The Goblin because Eun Tak didn't want to see him anymore, and Dong Woo because he wanted to see Sunny again. Eun Tak's life was challenging, and one day she sat alone on the beach, missing her mother. It began to rain, making her feel even sadder since she didn't have an umbrella. Just then, the Goblin arrived and sheltered her with his umbrella. explaining that the rain was caused by his own sadness. He gently brushed her hair and said goodbye, telling her he would soon leave to search for his real bride. While they were both at home, someone rang the doorbell, shocking them because no one knew their location. It turned out to be Eun Tak, who had learned the location from the ghosts who cared for her. She asked why the Goblin and Grim Reaper lived together and said she didn't want the Goblin to leave Korea. Then she reached toward his chest and, to his surprise, told him she could see the sword. Another legendary moment,